Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Pull Up 3. Hey, you really dogging the hell out of that. Welcome to the very first episode of Pull Up 3. I am Donovan, baby. Y'all can introduce yourselves as y'all wish.
You just put your little government in there? God.
I didn't know we were so formal.
Right.
My bad.
Going back.
I'm Paragon Don, I guess. That's the only other name I go by.
I mean,
My bad. I don't have cool nicknames like Jay Trent and Jemay. My bad.
you are literally Paragon Don.
Like you literally have a rapper name. What do you mean? Well, I'm Jemay. That's it.
I am Jay Trent. You can call me Jay Trent, or you can just call me Jay. It doesn't matter.
And today, for our very first episode, we will be going over our favorite moments of the season. I have no clue when this is going to come out. I can't imagine it'd be terribly long. So by the time this comes out, the season may be over already. And shout out to the Aces. If it's not, they let me down again. So
There's a big old takes exposed the chance to start the show off. I love it.
So yeah. To start off, I wanted to go something. I want to, to start off, I just want to go something a little smaller. One of my favorite moments of the season is when the Lynx were down by 11 on the Sylvia Fowles retirement night when they were honoring Sylvia Fowles. They were down by 11 with 3.5 minutes to go, and then they ended up coming back against the Sparks somehow. Lord knows. I remember looking away from that game and then looking back, and then niggas were just up, and I was very confused. But I thought that was beautiful. And then along with the Lynx stuff, when Fee had 31, 8, and 5 with 6 blocks and a game winner in OT against the Storm.
McBride inbounds. Collier gets it. Fakes the handoff to McBride. Going up against Ezzy with 3 seconds left. Fade away. Good. Nafisa Collier. And why not?
Absolutely.
That's a good one. I forgot about that.
So my first one, I'm going to be completely selfish. I'm going to talk about my Atlanta Dream. It was right after the 2023 All-Star teams had been announced. 2 Dream players actually made the All-Star team, Alicia Gray and Cheyenne Parker, but notably absent was 2022 first overall pick Rhyne Howard, and she responded on July 2nd against the LA Sparks by dropping 43 points, shooting 14 for 20 with 6 threes. I think she shot 50% from 3 in that game. Also had 2 steals and 2 blocks to go with 4 assists. So that is the definition of, and I took that personally, and it showed up in the box score.
Yeah, she ate that. That was on my list too. Yeah, that was on my list.
She ended up making the All-Star team soon after that. So it was real nice.
Yes, she did.
It worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, she actually said when she did her interview on Haley Jones' podcast that she mentioned that she was actually really upset that she did not make the team. So it was
Shout out
definitely
Haley Jones.
some legit.
Sometimes the hoop is very good.
Yes,
it's a great show. Yes, for sure.
Favorite podcast. You guys did yours so formally. I don't remember dates or none of that shit. I just wrote down a bunch of stuff that happened. But my first one was Aliyah hitting the 3-point buzzer beater against New York. And JJ was so pissed, bro. That actually is Aliyah hitting the 3 was obviously turned. But JJ just her face afterwards, she was completely defeated. I think we ended up losing that game, but it didn't matter because we remember the Aliyah Boston 3. So That went
Aliyah's
down for us.
Aliyah's reaction to her hitting that shot is the most like pure expression of I cannot believe I just did that. Like it was incredible. It was incredible to see.
I think JJ might be the most facially expressive person in the league. Like, if anything happens, if you look at her, you can, if your TV is on mute, you can tell what happened if you look in her face. It is one of my favorite things about the league is that she will always tell you if it's thinking up or something bad, look at JJ. If something good, look at JJ. She'll tell you. She ain't got to speak, but she'll tell you. But yes, Aliyah Boston's reaction was very pure. She just seems very genuine and like just like a sweetheart in general. Like even like the content she puts out, like she really seems all her and is very nice. It don't seem like corny nice. Like I just think she's just a nice person, which is very cool.
Yeah, she not out here. She not out here trying to. She not trying to Russell Wilson it. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Russell Wilson. Big fan, actually. Big fan of Mr. Unlimited. I'm sure the Broncos are probably somewhere losing right now, but yeah.
I thought they lost on. Didn't they lose on Thursday?
They did, but by the time this comes out, they'll probably have lost again.
Okay, fair enough. They might have lost like 4 times. Who knows? Broncos country, let's ride. For my, some of my other favorites. Enrique and Joel going band for band. Dropping 80 combined. Joel, my bad. That's not her name. Jewel. Lord forgive me. Enrique and Jewel Lloyd combining for 80 points. It was the most points ever combined by 2 opposing players. Enrique was the 4th person in franchise history to score at least 41 points. Jewel Lloyd, that was the most points in regulation in Storm history. Lauren Jackson scored 47, but she did it in OT. And both were career highs. Jewel Lloyd ended up dropping 41 in OT against the Lynx later on that season, if I could talk. But yeah, they were really going band for band. Both of them stood on business. One of them had to lose. It was kind of sick that Enrique had to lose, but they really stood on business.
So for my next one, I'm going to talk about just one performance in the historic season that Alyssa Thomas had. So this was the game where the Sun played against the Lynx, and I think Fee missed this game, and AT took full advantage. 21 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, 3 steals, and a block. She was completely dominant on both ends of the floor, which is kind of like a microcosm of what she meant to Connecticut all season. Like she was the force for that team on both sides of the ball the entire year. Led them to the 3rd seed and ended up with the most first place votes for MVP. That's and the most 3rd place votes for MVP. And somehow we won't do that. But you get what I'm saying.
I can't lie. It's kind
shout
of
out to
sick.
AT. She had a great year.
It's kind of sick that she had the season she had, and it ain't really nothing going to her trophy case at all. Like nothing.
They gave Stephanie White one Coach of the Year, and that's it. I mean, she did get all W first team and first team all defense, of course, but it just feels like
she got season leader in rebounds. So
she did.
If we talk about this MVP stuff too long, it's gonna get kind of crazy. But I will say that it is kind of sick. Shout out to my girl. You know, she was elbowing people before JJ, but she really put the team on her back. I remember when people was calling her dirty, saying bad things about him. She was like, "Bet I'm gonna do it anyway."
The crazy part, she didn't even change anything about her game. She
did not change anything about her game, anything about herself. No, nothing.
Nothing. Like literally nothing.
It's just kind of crazy. Like as the league it develops, it's probably gonna be more triple doubles. So her being the pioneer for that may end up getting lost in time in some form or fashion, kind of like how Oscar Robertson is. But you know, we were here for it. I remember. When I tell my kids, I will say, I remember Alyssa Thomas.
I'm very upset. I'm still very upset about 18, like not winning. Because Stewie has stank for like 2 fucking months. I just can't. I'm just so upset about it. But I'm not gonna talk about it.
I think you just wanted to flex your braids.
But by the time we record again, I'm gonna have my hair done too.
You were not slick about that just now. Oh no, you just wanted to flex your braids. You were not that upset. Hold on.
A little too much attention to me, and just like I'm trying to talk about basketball right now. Thank you. Anyways, I also had Arika and Jewel on my list, and I also had AT. I think just generally, I put generally her becoming the all-time triple-double leader. I think is like kind of insane, and I feel like people are kind of undersold it. Like I know more people had triple doubles this season, but I feel like people were trying to undersell her by saying, well, that's the direction the league is going. But it's like nobody else got more than one. Like I think she literally was the only person who got more than one. So like I feel like it's still a big deal, even though like we're trending towards a more competitive, whatever word you want to use to describe the game. While we're talking about the Sun though, the DeWanna Bonner 41 point game was very good. I have no idea who it was against. I think it was against the Aces though.
Were you trying to be slick? You knew it was the Aces.
I only thought it was the Aces because she said, I think I remember Asia being like, DeWanna Bonner always comes and plays her best against us when she picked her for the All-Star game. So like that's the reason why I sort of remember. I didn't write that down though.
Who it was against. Okay. I hope you remember them Stewie 40 balls.
I'm cutting him off after today. Don't you guys worry. He's done. Continue.
Thanks, bestie.
No, Stewie's actually going to hell for that because why did she do that? And the first one I let her have because you know that was I think it was their first home game. I feel like she kind of had to set the tone. But the second one was extremely unnecessary. Like she could have did that against literally any other team.
She gave that 40 twice.
Don't be funny. You fucking knew that already. You knew that already.
I'm asking questions. You was asking questions. I'm asking questions.
Don't talk to me. You're done. You're done.
Your
this is why you're not a good person.
Your braids look nice. Anyway. Your braids look real nice.
Please stop talking to me.
One of my other favorite points of the season, I know we're talking about Dallas a little bit, but Dallas actually got their first playoff series win since moving to Dallas in 2016, which is a very long time. Views dropped that year. We had a black president that year. Lord knows, like 2016 was a long time ago. That is over half a decade. So shout out to them. You know, a lot of things were said about Arike and what she could and could not do. And I think she came into the season and to me, she proved a lot of things wrong. I think there are a lot of people that still want to hold on to the notions that they had, like, oh, she doesn't play defense, or she doesn't play team ball, even though she displayed that she very well is capable of doing that. And they win when she's at her best. I do love Satu, but I will always say I think Arike is going to get them to where they want to go when she's at her best. And I think that also was displayed during the playoffs this year. But yeah.
With all due respect, there's like Satu does not have the season that she had, and she was great this year. I don't want to take anything away from her. She does not have the season that she had without Arike's gravity. Like she is it's two to the ball every time she touches it on defense. Like you have to close out on Arike the second she crosses half court. Like there's so much vertical spacing on the floor when Arike is there. So that allows Satu to be able to work on the inside. And it allows the wings as a whole. And that's why they were so difficult to stop. And that's why they beat my Atlanta Dream in the playoffs this year. So like she is the engine that controls the team. Like I've heard people say that Satu had a better season, but you can't have one without the other. So for my next moment, I cannot believe we got this far without mentioning this, but it is again referring to my Atlanta Dream, but they were on the opposite side of Asia Wilson tying the single game record for most points in a game. She had 53 points against my Atlanta Dream. She shot 16 for 23 from the field. She only missed one free throw out of like 21. She didn't miss a three. She had 7 rebounds and 4 blocks.
You know how many assists she had that game?
Obviously, she was. She went full Carmelo Anthony. She had 0 assists.
Yeah. Yeah.
All buckets, all the time. This is what basketball is all about. Like that. I mean, I hate it had to be, my team that gets this kind of record-breaking number put up on them. But for it to be a player of Asia Wilson's caliber who's on the trajectory that she is on, you can't do anything but tip your hat to it. Like she was just incredible.
I'm gonna say that y'all could the triple team her. Like she could have really got she really could have got 60, but then y'all tried to play serious defense when I'm like, guys, like let's
I mean, honestly, we probably should have, throw an intentional foul, let her get an extra free throw. Just so you might as well let her have the record outright. Like she didn't already tied it. Like you might
she's already done all the work. Just go ahead. Like it was yeah. That was actually second on my list. What else? Oh, well, I guess speaking of the aces, I feel like all this Fever Aces matchups were really, really good. The Fever always lost, but like we came really close a lot of times. I think that maybe it was our first one in June when they played at the Fever. We were down by like 2 points or something with like 30 seconds left. But of course, the Fever failed. They can't get right. And then Chelsea cooked us that game. She cooked us in that last quarter. So I didn't really know how to feel about that. But I feel like all the matchups were pretty fun. So that's one of my favorite moments.
I didn't mention Asia dropping 53 because I was going to end up talking about that when I talked about this season having the most 40-point games in a season by far. The closest was before it was 3 in a season, and this season had 13. Jewel, Arike, Stewie, Kelsey, Asia, Diana, Rhyne, and Dewana all had 40-point games this year. Asia had a 40 and a 50. Stewie had 6 40-point games. Jewel, dear Lord. Sorry. I have a friend who spells her name like that and it's pronounced Jewel. Lord forgive me. Jewel had 41, and then of course she went band for band. I had that 39, which is very close. Kelsey had that 40-point game. I don't know where that came from. That was cool, really cool to watch. When she's not pissing me off, it was very cool to watch. Jay mentioned Rhyne's right after she stood on business about getting left off the All-Star team. Dewana with the 41 against us, very crazy. That was our first loss of the season, if I'm not mistaken. We were like 7-0, and Dewana said bet, and just whooped our ass up and down that court. And my least favorite 40-point game, Diana Taurasi scored 42 to score 10,000 points for her career.
47.
I'm glad,
Let's get it right.
I'm glad this one was last because I have to mention, of course, it happened against the Atlanta Dream. But on top of that, not only did she have 42, the last time that Diana Taurasi had a 40-point game, Tanisha Wright was on the opposing team as a player. I just
She's Tanisha.
just like that's probably the most mad. Like, I can't imagine like being on the opposite end of the two most recent 40-point Diana Taurasi games. One as a player, one as a coach. Like, I can't think of anything worse right now.
I think what also made it funnier was the fact that Diana's a legend. She's done her thing for a very long time. She's been on the receiving end of that coat hanger, wire hanger thing, because I also think it might be time to hang that up, to be completely honest. But she had not played well like all season. Like, Lord knows, yes. I ain't see her in WNBA tried to put her somewhere. I ain't see them put her nowhere. She had not done well. The Phoenix Mercury stunk. Like, and Brittany Griner was not playing. They was getting beat by 30. So when they said she was 40 away or 20 away from 10,000 points, I was like, all right, well, this might take a couple games. And then next thing you know, 20 in the second quarter, I was like, oh, no, wait, was it 20 in the second or did it take after halftime? I think she had 18 at the half.
I think she needed like 18, and at the half she already had like 13 or something.
She put on a show for them people, and I'm mad they got a show because that was supposed to take her longer.
I'm mad that they got a show against us. Like, you couldn't have waited till the next game.
Funnier because like before they had when she needed like 50 points or something, they had like started the countdown. So that it happened like a couple games before, but she was so bad that they were like, well, we'll just pretend that this didn't happen. And then she decided to do 47. Like, girl, you could have did that 2 games ago, but whatever. It wasn't against my team. I'm not gonna discuss it.
A moment that this wasn't a on-court moment. It was just something really cool to see. It was actually during the finals where WNBA legend Tisha Penicheiro said that she thinks Chelsea Gray is a better passer than she was. That's something.
Because like, a very big
I remember, she was one of the first WNBA players who like highlight tape I watched. Cause like she was like the way that she would like pass players open was like incredible to see. So for her to, be in that position, I think she represents players. Now I think she's Rhyne Howard's agent. She represents a couple other players too. So for her to make that kind of statement, that's really big to me.
True. That was actually really sweet of her. But I'm glad you brought up non on the court moments because I feel like we need to include that Liz Campage got on that interview and lied for 47 minutes. I feel like we need to have that like documented. She said in that lady interview she lied, and then everybody called her out for lying, and then she was like, "Love and light." Why did you do that?
My favorite part of the interview is where you can see Taylor, like the way she's asking questions. She was like, "Are you sure you don't want to take any accountability for anything?" And she was like, "No, I'm just a girl."
I think the funny thing about that interview is just the fact that it proves like any and anyone is willing to lie in front of Taylor Rooks. Like it does not matter who you are, what you stand for, what side of the court you play on, if you're a two-way superstar or not. When Taylor Rooks interview you, you gonna lie. You gonna embellish. Cause we had her in 4K saying and doing anything and everything she denied, and she was still like, I don't really know what you're talking about. I really got nothing to do with me. Like, that's crazy. I don't understand why everybody hate me. All sort of stuff. That I didn't think to include that, but yes, that absolutely was one of my favorite parts of the season. It was the backlash of her the last two seasons has been hilarious. For me, in my history of WNBA fandom, I'm not gonna act like it's been like an extraordinarily long time or whatever. But from my experience and then what I see from people on Twitter and stuff like that, the WNBA isn't that good at paying homage to older players or legends of the game in that sense. But I think this season would highlighted Candace Parker really well. I think it was a lot of times, especially with Across the Timeline, because shout out to Across the Timeline. I don't know exactly who runs that page, but they do a fantastic job. Just the fact that every time somebody did something, it was first person to do this since Candace Parker. First person to do this since Candace Parker did this 3 times. First person to do such and such. It just like it always referred back to her. And it just really cemented what we already knew, that she is one of the greatest, if not the greatest person to ever play the sport. And now, like, it probably would have been a little bit better tour had she not have gotten hurt. So I do hope this was not how she goes out. Because although she looked kind of slightly sluggish getting acclimated to the system, the Aces were obviously better with her on the court. And I think it could only be better with another full off season. But yeah, I think they did a great job with showing her.
Yeah, Candace did so much for the Aces, like defensively, and even when her shot wasn't falling, like her being able to, like, you give her the ball at the top of the key, she can make passes. Like she opened up so much of their offense. So like, and they were, running through the playoffs even without her. So with her health, and that was with her, not even being 100%. So I'm just imagining what they would look like with a healthy Candace Parker. Like they would definitely be an unstoppable team, I feel like.
And I don't think like people really, because I feel like during the season people tried to be like, well, they didn't really need Candace. And I'm like, did y'all watch when Candace played? Because like they're a completely different team. I think people didn't really notice because like Asia was like going off and like pretty much doing all of the heavy lifting. But like to not say that like Candace would be to not see the value in having Candace is kind of like very silly to say. Even though she started the season off a little rough, but like even then she was like only getting a few rebounds and doing a little bit like, and the Aces was still busting people ass. So it's like once she really got serious, it got worse for everybody else. So like, I don't know. I really hope that she comes back next season and we at least get to see that like one time with everybody and to their best ability.
For me, I feel like even with Candace at her worst, or with Candace, if Candace played how she played in the beginning of the season, which was like, where she kind of looked slower, I feel like at the worst, and this is not a knock on her at all, she is Kia Stokes. And again, this is not a knock on her.
You did not even have to say that. Like you did.
Well, and I just meant
pretty good.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a knock on Kia. Kia has played very well, but I just meant in the fact that it's not even like Kia was shooting like that, and it's not like Kia shoots like okay, game 1 in the finals, Kia put up 0 points and 4 rebounds and like 3 assists or something. And on paper, it did not look impressive by any means, but you could tell when she was on the court, she was like, if you watch the game, Kia was just as important to that win as everyone else. So yes, that's what I was referring to. Yeah. Again, Kia Stokes, if you ever listen to this, I don't know why you would do it still. It's not a slight to you, I promise. But yeah, at worst, I feel like that's what she was. And then when they were getting into the groove as the season progressed, I mean, she was arguably the third or second most important person to that team. I mean, she is the defensive legend that she is. Like being able to have an anchor in Asia and also another anchor in Candace Parker to quarterback that and tell people where to go and all this other stuff. And like knowing you have both of them to be behind you and she could also spread the floor, like that's insane. And I do, they were a super team then. I still feel like the Aces are not a super team now because they are missing her and they are also missing Raquana for reasons she deservedly so and missing. And then, but yeah, I hope we get to see a season with her.
Yes, for sure. For another encore moment, I'm trying to think of teams that we haven't covered yet. So real quick, I want to talk about the Chicago Sky. There was a game against the Connecticut Sun where Courtney Williams had a 23, 16, and 13 triple-double. Like that is an insane performance. She that's one of the most impressive performances of the season. She did that. They were without Aliyah Copper for that game, so they needed a lot from Courtney Williams. She played, I think that game went to overtime, so she played more than 40 minutes in that game. It's like they needed her to do pretty much everything on both ends of the floor. Elizabeth Williams is a great defensive anchor. I think she made all defensive second team this year. She actually had 21 points in that game as well. So for that performance by this guy in that game against a top seed in Connecticut, very impressive performance.
I think they must tell Courtney Williams to envision you back at that food truck.
Please, why didn't even have to do that?
She was locked in. She was locked in.
You know, while we're talking about the Chicago Sky and Courtney Williams, I love Courtney Williams, but I hate her because she, in the Fever, when we were still in like playoff contention, we played the Sky. They kind of really needed to win though, because they were in the hunt with the whole Sparks and all of that kind of stuff. But Courtney Williams could not fucking miss. And like I was at that game and she was like talking shit to the people on the sideline. I was like, girl, please just play basketball. And like they 30-pieced us. It was nasty. It was completely nasty. So congratulations to them for that. But also shout out to their social media team because they actually probably had one of the funniest accounts this year. Yeah.
And on the lines of the Chicago Sky, also shout out D Wade. I'm not the stepfather. I'm the father who stepped up. I don't know why James Wade was being nasty and really left in the middle of the season to be an assistant coach for the Raptors of all places. And, you know, they did but D Wade came in there, swooped in. I hope that he does a great job. I think he does show that he cares. I think he does very much care about Chicago, and in turn, he will turn that love of Chicago into love for the Chicago Sky. I don't know him like that, so of course I can't question how much he loves and or knows the WNBA like that. But I do believe in him. I didn't like him for a really long time because he broke Rondo's arm, but in finding out Rondo is a terrible person, he probably deserved it. So yeah, shout out to my boy. You know, still throwing down to James Wade until further notice. Raptors will not be in the playoffs, so this will all be moot. Don't know why he did that.
They hired Teaspoon as their coach. Like we're already headed in the right direction.
His last thing that he did was trade first round picks for
Marina Mabrey. For motherfucking Marina Mabrey. Three first round picks for Marina Mabrey. No shade, sister, but
and speaking of, so in that game where Marina Mabrey was their third leading scorer in that game. She was 5 for 10 from 3, but I mean, you traded basically 3 drafts to bring her in. Like you need some sort of jump from her next season to justify that.
I would just like to say, I don't know who made this tweet, but I laugh at every time I watch Marina Mabrey play. I laugh at this tweet all the time. It was something that pointed out that she be going heads up everybody, like yelling at everybody, and DT slapped her, and she turned around and did not just say a word. So I think about that pretty often. Because she just was kind of like,
no, wait. Why? Wait, why are we talking about? No, first of all, DT slapped her. It was like so quick. Like she was like, it was just like she did not move. Like her face was just like. But why are we talking about that? I need to talk about this. Is not WNBA related, but in the off season. Marina played with Rhyne overseas, and they were in like a playoff game or something, and Marina was pissed, and she's like going off, like trying to argue with the refs, doing this whole thing, and Rhyne just like, when I say she like yoked Marina ass up and like dragged her across the, not she like drag her across the floor, but like she yoked her up and took her to the bench, and Marina was just like, she couldn't really even fucking do anything because like Rhyne had her gripped on her neck. That shit was the funniest shit I had ever seen.
I need
and
that
like you could tell
Rhyne
was like
now.
over it.
Yeah, I gotta go find that. I will
find the tweet for y'all because she
in Prague, the first semi-final of this year's EuroLeague Women Final Fours, and it's Fenerbahce 36, Skio 40 at the half.
But that's all I think about because it's like, girl, okay, you're not serious right now.
Now I think about DT. I think about DT slapping her, but as soon as I see that video, that will be replaced. Because I know
I gotta find it.
if I grab somebody by the neck and drag them across the court to get them together, I would probably talk about that forever. I know every time the Wings and the Sky play, they be saying something to her about it. Like you let her grab you by the scruff of your neck like a puppy.
It was bad. It was bad. Like, I'm gonna find that tweet though. I'm sorry y'all didn't see that shit. It was so fucking funny.
Nah, I got to see that.
While you're looking for that, and another team we didn't get a chance to talk about is the Mystics. I do feel bad for the Mystics because they, of course, were very injury riddled throughout the season. Shakira Austin missed quite a bit of time. EDD has missed quite a bit of time. I don't know if it's about time to hang that up, but we will find out. But Natasha Cloud was absolutely astounding in the playoffs. Brittany was amazing throughout all the season. She also was amazing in the playoffs. You know, she kind of had a brain fart towards the end, but you know, it is what it is. But I think those two held the team together very well throughout everything. And the fact that they, although the Liberty swept them, did they not?
Oh, I want to say that didn't the Mystics win a game?
They did. They won.
Okay.
They won the last game. I think they might have beat them twice. But they won at least one.
They played them in the first round, so they only had 2 games. It was the best of 3.
Oh, you mean in the playoffs? JK. No,
that's what I meant. Sorry, I do know they in fact beat them twice.
Okay.
In the playoffs, I'm pretty sure they got swept, but they were very, very competitive games
because they weren't serious in the second game. Don't even bring that up. We shouldn't even be talking about that because we're supposed to be giving them their flowers right now. Let's not talk about that.
Well, Natasha Cloud went absolutely insane in that game. Like, that was a beautiful performance. See, I know I said this a lot during this broadcast, but she stood on business. And I do hope that she gets a chance to play for a contender. She can come to the Aces next year. You know, I'm being greedy, but
oh brother.
Yeah. Oh, also,
I say that as
free aerial powers. I know we're talking about the Lynx. I mean, we weren't talking about the Lynx, but you know, free my girl.
Yeah, she's got like. I really do feel for aerial powers. Like, I'd be so confused watching Lynx games because I'm just like, what is the thought process here? Like, why is she just sitting there? Like, why do y'all have no interest in playing her?
Because Cheryl is nuts. Like, I mean, and this is the problem when people are like very good at their job, because Cheryl is gonna get flowers because they started the season ass and then they made the playoffs. But they probably could have been better had she not set her at random times. Like, there's no reason you can't tell me that putting AP in for a few minutes couldn't have helped y'all when a lot of y'all was having bad games. I'm not gonna call her out, but you know, somebody was dragging through half the season. So.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Ryan grabbed the hell out of her neck.
Wait.
Like
so funny.
Like, her hand was open, like, and then she pushed her after. So,
and Marina shut the fuck up. Like, she just said, "All right." She let it go immediately.
Yeah, because I mean, what can you say after that? What can you say? You like, there's nothing you can do then but take it. You gotta just be like, you know what? You're right. I was tripping.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Sorry. Again, did not mean to interrupt. But yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
I want to talk about All-Star Weekend real quick. I know that I was not there. I know you guys were there. So I was very impressed with Sabrina Ionescu's performance in the 3-point shootout. Like that is like I want to say that was like the record. That would be the record for both leagues.
It would.
Like that many points in a round. And it's just like how how do you get that locked in for a 3-point? How do you get that locked in for a performance that doesn't count towards anything? Like I just don't understand. I do not understand.
And I have to commend her. You know, I know we don't do that to her very often, so I will give her flowers now. She started off. Her and Jonquel started off the season pretty slow, and as the season progressed, they both started playing very, very well. Especially Sabrina. There were definitely times in the second half of the season post All-Star break where she looked like the number one option on that team, which goes into MVP discourse that we would not get into right now. But she realistically, like, she had one of the greatest 3-point shooting seasons in like any league, any level of that. Like, if she shot it, it had a good chance of going in. Like, we all three have talked about it, especially me. Like, I would much rather see her attempt to lay the ball up than trying to shoot a three. Because there's a reason she shot like 40, low 40s, because she shot a lot of threes. And if she shot in the paint, it was just like, I was just like, all right. But them threes, she was cashing. So I have to commend her. She put on a very impressive run this season, shooting wise. It was when it was not against the Aces or any team that I liked. It was fun to watch. But seeing that 3-point contest in person was wonderful. Like, I can't even lie. Like, I was like, I didn't. She really just. I don't remember her missing.
I think she went on a long run of like in her first couple of racks, she missed a few, but like the rest of them, perfect.
It was very cool to see history in person. And also, Jay, you will be with us in Phoenix next year. If
yes,
I wish it would have got moved to Atlanta or whatever they're doing to Skylar Diggins-Smith, but it looks like it will not. So the itinerary that Tip has made will get used.
I would love for there to be. I love for All-Star Weekend to be in Atlanta. I need the Dream to either move out of the Gateway Center or for the Gateway Center to get some more seats. Because, like, yeah, it's cool that you sell out every game, but also, like, and I think the owners have mentioned this, that I think they do have like the lowest number of seats for any arena. So I think they should be looking to at least expand the size of the arena, because clearly you'd be able to get more fans in there.
Yeah, I do
with the people that you haven't performing. Like, y'all motherfuckers had Deuce, motherfucking
the best
like,
rapper dancer in the world.
They legit, like, all the halftime performance, like, it might be worth the $30. Shit, like,
I'm glad. Yeah, I definitely be loving the all the announcements that be like, yeah, the Dream sold out this many games, but they do play in a Bojangles box, so I need them to figure that out. I need them.
You did not have to say that. This is like, we're adding to the fact you're not a good person. Like, it's clear. A team that we haven't talked about,
the Sparks,
is the Sparks. Pray for them, because they had a lot going on. But this is my time to talk about Jordan Canada and the incredible season that she had. My girl was season leader in steals. And like she was just like so clutch so often. Like Nneka obviously is like the anchor. She holds the team down, you know, shout out to her. But Jordan Canna really just she just had a great season. I'm very proud of her. I have to stand. So
Big Jordan Canada fan for sure. For sure.
I also, speaking of the Sparks, I do also have to say, shout out to De'Erica. You know, I do hope she ends up getting the justice that she seeks, or at least gets something that appeases her. But from going to theoretically not going to be ready for the season to being the only Sparks player to play all 40 games is very impressive. And I'm very proud of her. And it seemed like she has adjusted to the LA life, and LA has bought into her. So, yeah, shout out to her for that.
I wonder what the Sparks do, like in the off season, because they definitely have like an opportunity to bring in a pretty decent influx of talent. I guess it depends on like which players become unrestricted free agents, but there's some teams with, you know, a decent number of players that could be leaving. Like the Mystics and the Sun come to mind. Like there's a decent chunk of their roster that could be moving.
the Sparks whole roster ain't coming back either. They got like 3 players for real sign. I think
Yeah.
De'Erica for sure. Oh, Azure too. She had a good season too.
Okay.
But those 2 are the only people that's like for sure coming back. I was kind of shocked that Nneka didn't sign an extension, so like she might leave.
That would be something. That would be something.
Because,
I wonder what I'm trying to think who's like the biggest free agent.
It's gonna be crazy when
EDD a free agent.
Her and Nneka and EDD gonna switch places.
That'd be crazy.
You think EDD gonna go to the Sparks?
I don't, but I just wanted to talk.
Please. No, honestly, so what? Skylar, EDD, Nneka.
I mean, technically, Stewie and Jonquel are free agents.
Yes, DeWanna Bonner, like they really could, you know.
DeWanna Bonner is not leaving.
Brianna Jones, I think
Brianna Jones is one too. It's a lot of people who are free agents. And like that's why I was kind of shocked that I didn't see so many, like too many extensions. Jewel signed an extension and Koss signed an extension. I was like, okay, congrats, but also
okay. Okay. So the list of is DeWanna Bonner, EDD, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Jonquel Jones, Brianna Jones, Kalia Copper. Oh, she just signed her extension, excuse me. Ariel Powers, Jasmine Thomas, Natasha Cloud, Brenna Stewart. I think Ariel Atkins is one. Nneka.
I think she signed an extension.
Okay. This hasn't updated. So just let me know if these people have not signed. Or Courtney Williams, Tiffany Hayes, Diamond.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I feel like the Wings have to keep them. Like they made the trade, and she hadn't even suited up for them. Like I feel like you've got to.
Yeah, they got really far without. So I'm not saying she wouldn't be a helpful addition, but also I don't know.
Kia Stokes. Although I feel like she's gonna stay.
Was that part of that? Was that like part of the Alicia Gray trade, or was that a separate trade?
I think.
Or was that the Marina Mabry trade?
I think that was a part of the Marina Mabry trade. I thought it was like a 3-team trade.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of teams have like a lot of space to do things. So really, like, if people wanted to be serious, like the WNBA could get really competitive. But
I mean, there's a team in Atlanta that should be looking to add a certain guard. Is all I'm saying. All I'm saying. I I just feel like that would be a great fit for this certain guard that I won't name at this time to be playing in Atlanta next year. I just think that would be a wonderful fit next to Aliyah Gray and Rhyne Howard. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
mm,
It's crazy because you
that's what
talking
I'm
about
saying.
Courtney Williams.
Which is like she just like, and I love Courtney Williams. She was just with Atlanta like 2 years ago. But
You're gonna have to play rock paper scissors for Skylar Diggins Smith though. I'm gonna have to.
I don't know what Lynn Dunn doing, but she needs to like. It's too many people. If we don't get a big free agent, I don't know. I might have to show up at her house. I don't know because
Ain't y'all ain't y'all money tied up somewhere?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Because first of all, don't do that.
Somebody
We
on the
are paying
team
Melody
has
a
the
lot of
biggest.
money. We're paying her a lot. We're paying her a lot of money. Okay, but most of our team is rookies, so we can afford it. We can afford it. Shout out really quick. Christy Wallace. I was gonna give her flowers for that 3-point clinic she put up against the Dream, but also get that lady off my team. So once she's gone, we have some space. I think we can get something done. But congratulations to her. That was an amazing performance. Yeah.
Being on the receiving end of a Christy Wallace revenge game is insane. Insane. I could not believe what I was watching. Like she was amazing. She was amazing. But I was just like, are you serious? And Aliyah Boston was hurt. Like there's no reason. My parting wish for the Atlanta basketball team is that we learn how to finish games. Please, can we please learn how to finish games? That's all I ask.
I think the Dallas Wings are asking for the same thing. So we'll
And that was the perfect playoff series because like the going into the series it's just like one of y'all got to win. So who's it gonna be?
Who wants to lose a little less than the other?
I'm so like Rhyne Howard put up 39 points in her playoff debut. Absolutely incredible.
And it's overshadowed by the fact that the Dallas Wings
that we lost the game.
20-point deficit. Whew. Damn.
One day. Yes, for sure. One day we will learn how to close games. I believe in the talent. I believe in Coach T. I think the players have her back. So I was not on the fire Tanisha Wright train. I know that was a very big talking point. I'm not there. I believe in her. I think that she said herself that she has to learn how to coach this team. And I think part of having an inexperienced head coach, she grows with the players. So I think there'll be some more of that. And hopefully next year we can close some more games and not have our backs against the wall immediately once the playoffs start.
Well, does anyone have any parting words before we end our first official episode? We have 1:30 left, so be careful.
All I'm gonna say is Aliyah Boston won Rookie of the Year, and that's all I cared about. Also, the Fever got 13 wins, the best we've ever done in like the last like 5 years. So the future's bright.
Future is bright over there in Indiana. Y'all are better than the Pacers.
Everyone's better than the Pacers. So sorry to the men. I don't even know who played on that team. Matter of fact,
Shout out to
that Buddy Hield was like 30 years old. Sorry, continue.
Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, but yeah. No, my last word was my last word.
Well, my last words would be, dear God, I hope when y'all are watching this, I hope the Aces have won the championship by now, or I will be sick. But yeah, that is the first official episode of Pull Up 3. This is us. I'm Paragon Don. Excuse me, so I don't get yelled at.
I'm Jemay.
I'm Jay Trent. Pull up with us next time. I'll have my hair done next time.
We are out.